Well, hello, Bob Dandry here, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. So last episode we built this line, as yet unnamed, and I did throw it out to you to sort of give some ideas in terms of how we'd actually name it. Now, I did have a suggestion from Slenderman's Land 401, a semi-serious and a not-so-serious name, and I've decided to actually go with a not-so-serious name. Tweaked a little bit. So the suggestion was, since obviously we deleted a lot of homes, compulsory acquisition, let's call it, we would call it the Mum Where Is Our House line. And I've decided to go with that, tweak it a little bit, and we're going to call it the Dude Where's My House line. So, yeah, not super serious name, but thank you so much for the suggestion, and I think we're going to go with it. Now, obviously, one of the stops on this line is here at Wichita Falls, and I want to do a few changes around Wichita to start off this episode, not directly related to our high-speed line, but I think will be quite helpful. If we look at our sort of 4-lane highway we built from Chandler, you can see, well, two things. First of all, it is windy as hell, and we definitely want to fix that. Second of all, we've got big backups in traffic. Now, there's not really any through traffic. Wichita Falls doesn't really go anywhere else aside from back around to Oklahoma. So it's really, no one's going to be traveling through it. And the reason for a lot of these backups is actually because of the fact that this is such a busy line, and we've only got grade crossings. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start off by trying to get at least a couple of grade separated crossings and get rid of the at grade crossings, because yeah, it just doesn't work. Definitely over here I think we've got a good opportunity to get one down. So I'm going to remove our existing roads. We're going to have to remove some buildings, of course. Dude, where's my house? Bridge, this might be. But I think we should have enough room to make this fairly easy connection. Straight over the top here. I think that's probably as low as it's going to go. And hopefully we can join up fairly easily. Now we've got too much slope, so I'm wondering, could we lower this a little bit? So, too much slope, but probably okay. Bugger, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, we're getting a too much slope error, but I think it's probably okay. So we're going to go with it. So that's one grade separated crossing. So we are starting to see a few cars using our bridge. Of course, it was an existing route, so people are going to want to use it. We've got two other crossing points here. This is really the major one, and that's the one that we're probably going to have the most problems with. I don't think we'll be able to bridge this. I'm going to try it, but we might just need to sort of eliminate this as a crossing point. Let's see. We do have an advantage that the rail line actually is a little bit lower than the sort of parallel roads. So we might be able to do something, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to work, if I'm completely honest. It's going to be quite steep, but I don't know. I think it could potentially still work. I'm just trying to get our sort of flat bit, or where our bridge is, sort of as close to the rail line as we can possibly get it. And that's quite high there, we can see. I'm just sort of narrowing it or lowering it one sort of one shift click at a time, I guess we could say. I don't reckon this is going to connect, or it's not going to be happy about connecting anyway. No, not a chance there at all, I would suggest. Though apparently I built it anyway. No, that is definitely not building. We could potentially build a little bit of a like a U sort of shaped bridge, which could work. Let's see if we can get something like that happening. So if we go up to maybe like here or so, we can still get the connection in. Flatten it out. I don't want a old brick bridge though. We want something different. Can we connect up there? No, we cannot. I think we're definitely probably doing better. Okay, that is... yeah, that's ugly. We're not doing that. Not doing that at all. Instead, we will just come out like this. And see if we can connect in like that. We've got construction not possible, which is interesting. Potentially we might be a little bit close to the road there. So we might see if we can just take it out just a little bit further. And can we make a connection now? Construction not possible. This is a new one for me. I've not seen this sort of error in this situation before. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than our first attempt at building it, I think. And we should be able to make this connection a little bit easier. I don't think it should be anywhere near as difficult to make happen. But once again, that could be famous last words. Another time for us. Yeah, it's a little bit better. A little bit better. A little bit ugly. I wish we could get like some sort of brick, some like concrete or brick retaining walls here, but no, of course not. But we are starting to see traffic is diverting. Finally, we just need to get rid of this grade crossing. I reckon this one is going to be a tricky one. We've got two connections. Potentially we could maybe create another one like further out of town, like here or something like that. That is an option. Surely that's fine. I personally think that's okay. So I'm going to build. And then we will I'll probably hook in over here and remove the existing road there. Okay, perfect. So we've eliminated all of our grade crossings. And we have also, in fact, I'm not even going to say we've eliminated them. We've replaced them. So we have 3 crossings now, as we did at the start of the episode, but we have none of them at grade, which is tremendously helpful in terms of getting traffic flowing. And we are starting to see these backups move, but not massive amount just yet. Now, honestly, I'm still feeling a little bit motorway-ish. So I think we might actually add on to our motorway network that we sort of established 2 episodes ago. And I think we might look at extending our existing motorway from Chandler through to Albuquerque via Wichita Falls. Now, at the moment, I don't think we really have any connection from Wichita Falls sort of towards Laredo or Albuquerque. So this is actually an opportunity to potentially decrease some of the traffic flow through all these other towns, because realistically at the moment, if you could even get, to be honest, across to like LA or whatever, I don't think you necessarily can at all. But it might potentially stop people from maybe hopping in their car at Chandler to sort of go stuff around in one of those cities to come back to Albuquerque, for example, or something like that. I don't know if that'll work in practice, who knows, but we're going to extend it. This one is probably a little bit more complicated because it'll need to cross our train, our rail infrastructure in quite a few places. But we're going to see how we can do it. So, of course, our existing link road, it will remain there, but our motorway will actually curve around, and this will become just a standard junction. We will cross sort of a number of roads and rail connections here. We will take up this alignment for probably a short period of time, not a massive amount. From there, we'll have an off-ramp at Wichita Falls. Then we will once again cross all of this rail infrastructure, make our way sort of up the mountain, probably join up alongside our alcohol distillery, and probably will convert this existing dirt road into a motorway as well and have a bit of a stub to go around Peoria and just have it sort of terminating at the end of the dirt road. But let's see. As always, we will be using 3-lane highways. Now we'll be heading over the top of our existing road. We might just sort of have this entire piece raised rather than going down, anything like that. That might allow a bit extra, I guess, space in the town for development. So I'll make the connection like that. I will do my best to build a parallel connection, but you know how much I struggle with these. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. Largely, it seems to be going all right. We'll just need to, of course, reverse the direction when we get that far. But from there, yeah, we'll head back down to the ground. From there, of course, we are going to break some things. So we will pause. We will need to cut through here. And from here, we will be going back up. Once again, we'll be doing a whole sort of raised section thing. We've got some wires that we need to worry about hitting, which we obviously are currently hitting. I'm going to try and get this as low as I can once again without colliding. So it looks like we're fine there. Heading over this section might be a little bit trickier. It looks like we're looking largely okay so far. And yeah, from here we're pretty much just going to be heading up the hill. Now we've got this old station that we built a very long time ago for an industry that actually was removed before we could even deliver, cargo there. And it's time for that one to be removed. All right, from there we will curve this one around. Motorway is just going to sort of end here, and we'll have a junction going towards Peoria. Next, we need to build pretty much the other direction, which might be a challenge, same as building this was, but we'll see how we go. Oh wow, we are going up at a steady pace there, so I'm going to need to redo all of this. Probably back to here also, I think. We just need to try and keep this level. As level as we can anyway. So there's of course going to be, I think, slight variations in the height. There's not really going to be an escape of that, I don't think. Unless there's some sort of parallel tool that I just don't know exists, which of course there could be, because as you would know, I'm not the best at this game. But we'll see. And there was always going to be some variation in the route over here, I think. We weren't going to be able to escape that, I don't think. But from here, we should be pretty good to go fairly parallel. All right, now we've got a lot of reversing of directions and we can fix up our junctions and get everything like that back into place. So we'll remove this connection here. And yeah, a lot of reversing of directions now, which I am going to do magically and come back to you when it's done. All right, so the new motorway, the overall route is complete, and we just need to hook up our towns, which, as you can see, ooh, travel times have blown the hell out, because obviously Wichita Falls to Chandler currently need to go all the way around here. So it makes sense, Albuquerque and Laredo, I didn't realize they ever were connected. Oh, no, actually, no, they were connected through there, so fair enough. Cool. So, yeah, few junctions to build here, but I think it should be all fairly easy. I'm hoping. Why is construction not possible? Why? It should be. Oh god, that's terrible. Okay, that's messy as all hell, but it works. Next, we need a connection here. I think we might actually just do just punch this through and just have a single junction rather than trying to have this replace part of our sort of existing route between the cities. I think that probably makes sense. And we're going to do them a favor and sort of correct all of this as well, so it's a more straightforward route. All right, we've got a fairly easy connection we can make here, I think. I say that now, and it's not heaps easy. All right. And probably we'll do our ramp here, actually. One-way connection, and then, yeah, we'll probably punch this one through to join up over here as well. That might be a little bit more of a feat of engineering, actually. Because we're sort of on the side of a hill here, aren't we? Interesting. Might not be that bad, actually. We should be able to pretty much fix this all up now. Give this road a well-earned upgrade as well. So I think we should be able to pretty much just connect these straight up. Oh, that's an interesting little bit here, but probably makes sense. Maybe for that to be happening. I don't know. I don't know why it's trying to curve back around onto itself though. Okay, whatever reason that was, it is fixed now. That's done. I think this should be easy as well. Actually, really easy, that one. Surprisingly. Now what's unhappy? Okay, we've got a train with no path. So hopefully we should start to see some people using these very strange spaghetti-like junctions. It's not the best looking, motorway I've ever built, but hopefully it'll once again start to help some smoother traffic flow. Now, I've been having a look at some of potentially our next options we might look at in terms of where to serve, where to improve our network, because we're serving all towns at this point. So realistically, what we're wanting to do is clean up what we're already doing, increase, service levels, things like that. And I've noted some things. I'm looking at Fullerton, look at the supply, it's not great. Spokane, a little bit better, but still not fantastic. New York, absolutely terrible. Lakewood, terrible again. And what have all of these towns got in common? They're all serviced from Dayton, which is pretty much our sort of busiest freight hub. It serves pretty much everywhere, but is highly congested. And there's a lot of competition for the goods that flow through here. Because let's have a look. What do we have serving here? If we pull over this, can we make it bigger? No, we can't, but that's okay. We've got our cross river freight train. Obviously, we've got the freight shuttle to Dayton itself. We've got El Paso, we've got Lakewood, we've got Laredo, we've got New York, we've got Richmond, Spokane. That's 7 different locations that this is feeding goods through to. The Dayton freight shuttle isn't actually the Dayton freight shuttle. I just forgot to change the name. Where does it actually go? It goes to Salem. Just quietly change that. All right, so what I'm suggesting here, we'll leave El Paso. Fullerton will probably leave, to be honest. Richmond will stay from here, and Salem will stay from here. Everything else, we're actually going to create a new sort of major hub station to handle that traffic. And I think we've got one here that is pretty much where it needs to be. This one here, our Spokane West station, which is currently linked up to the goods factory, we'll actually extend that to be able to sort of run as our freight hub. So service to Spokane itself, that can be handled on by road. We don't actually need a train to run that, so that's good. And we can sort of pull out our freight platform, or at least maybe repurpose them for passenger down the line. New York will serve from here. Lakewood will serve from here, so it'll sort of pop around the side there. And that should almost half the services coming from Dayton, so that should hopefully make things a little bit smoother. Now, 2 things we need to do. We need to lengthen the platforms here at Spokane. I believe they'll only be 320 meters long, so we need them to pop up to 480 to handle our big through freight services. And second of all, we need to actually work out how we are going to run the freight services themselves. Because at the moment, it's very neat how it runs, right? Things run from LA, they run all the way through to, where are we? Lafayette and back. Heaps easy. We're going to need to reroute potentially. I'm thinking we might run to Lafayette. We'll pop up to Spokane West and then just pop back through and continue as we had before. Is that going to work? I think it probably will. But first of all, let's get this fixed. We are going to need to do some changes to allow this to run, I think. Or we might not need to. Let's just see how things, I guess, pan out, shall we say. So, what we'll need to do, I'll wait for this guy to pass, and I think we'll actually extend in that direction. I've had a look. That's probably not going to work because we're sort of butted right up against this tunnel here. So once this person finishes off, we'll punch it out that way, and that should fix things. And what are people unhappy with? We've got a train with no path. Oh, you're all right. If you turn around, you should have a path, right? Yeah, cool. Okay. So, what is the utilization of this station? We've got 4 tracks and 3 lines running to it. So, both those lines are running to this side here, in fact. So, what we can probably do is utilize this spare track here and run our sort of cross-river freight trip train to it. And it'll have its own set of tracks and everything. I think, anyway. I think that makes sense, does it? It probably doesn't, to be fair. What we could do instead is... And yes, that breaks things, that's okay. We will have it share. And I just want to make sure I've got the right trains running here. No. You can go to Terminal 4. Okay, and now we're ready to start running our shuttles from this station here. So we'll get the Spokane one running. That's the easy one because, you know, it just requires a... what's that thing called? A truck station, yes. Yep, you heard it here first. And is pretty much good to go from there. And we just need to set up our truck unload stops, which we do need a few, to be honest, because we've got some quite wide sort of demands, don't we? Can we get away with 2? No, we can't actually. So we'll need to have 3, at least 3. Yeah, I think we're good there. So we'll set up a new line. And we can switch across the trucks that we've currently got running to use that new line. Our Spokane freight shuttle, how is that one? It's quite an old one, isn't it? What do we got running here? It's a... I don't know. It's a Penn Central train though, so we know that much. So we will scrap it. Bam. We're going to grab our Cross River Freight trip train and we'll add the new stop as we discussed. That will run after Lafayette. We'll come in here. And that should flow through with no issues. Though it's wanting to do something silly. Can we have it turn around? We should have everything we need for that to happen, right? So Lafayette branch. Okay. No, the issue is that it's using this track here. Okay, that's okay. Just thinking though. Does anyone else... So no one else uses that set of tracks. That's purely for the freight trip train. So could we run a single track in and out? Possibly. Pop the old pause on. Break the line. Apparently it's not broken. It's found another way. Okay. Apparently I've still not broken anything, despite all of this messiness I'm introducing. So we'll break off here. Head down. Apparently you hit too much slope. Still hitting too much slope, apparently. We're going to build anyway. We'll continue on to here. Give this a quick upgrade. And we're going to do one of those sort of weird things where we switch our direction, where we operate in the Australian slash, well, much of the rest of the world way of running, and run on the left. Though it's a challenge, actually, to get up high enough, isn't it? Oh, that's a massive challenge. Especially when you consider we can't do that. We need to run around the other side. We don't have to, but it'll be much smoother if we do that, shall we say. Oh man, that's going all the way down and we're... Oh, gosh. Okay, I understand why I did some of the things I did, you know, the way I did them originally. It does seem to level off here, but it seems that we're going to need to sort of break off much earlier. So if we start heading down now, surely we should be able to, like, build a tunnel or something, right? Right? No? Oh, hang on. We got a tunnel. Okay. And nice. Okay. Cool. All hope is not lost then. We can do our little switcheroo movement here. And yes, it's doing what I want it to do. Excellent. Okay. Unpause. That was interesting. Not the nicest little thing here, but it'll work. And now we just need to gradually start moving our services over to run from Spokane. So we've got the New York freight shuttle, which we've got a platform here already, so we can just switch that across to run in this direction. Need to pause because we'll need to slightly reconfigure. Though it doesn't actually break anything because we don't have anything that turns around here. Yeah, fair. But we've easily switched it, I guess, anyway. So our NYC freight shuttle, that is an old one as well. So we might just get rid of it, to be honest. We will change where it's running from. And replace it. In fact, yeah, it's just going to be easy to do it that way, isn't it? So I think the newest thing we've got here is the SD70 ACEs, which are still 5 years old at this point, but we've been running with a lot of SD80s, which are a little bit older. So the SD70 ACs we can run with CSX. So we'll see if we can get one only. I think that should be okay. I wish we had some newer single stack flat cars. I might see maybe before the next episode if we can get some different ones. Because, yeah, obviously these are quite low capacity and a little bit older as well, but it's fine. It works. It's still good. So we'll replace that one. In fact, I've slightly changed my mind. I will add a few box cars to the front, which we do quite often do for these type of services, because the box cars tend to be a higher capacity, but they're less versatile in terms of what they can carry. So that boosts our capacity a little bit. Lakewood should be another one where we are fairly easily able to make sort of just a like-for-like switch. It's also another one where we have an older train that needs to be replaced. So we'll get the line fixed up. And we should be able to just quick smart replace the vehicle as well. Nice easy one. Now looking at the Lafayette branch terminal for the Cross River Freight Trip Train, looking at our destinations, we've got reasonable amount wanting to go to Spokane West, which hopefully that's indicating that all of it is going to go there. It's not going to like drop some off then pick the same stuff up again, which it does do from time to time. But if that's all going to Spokane West, that's fantastic. That should help to start to take care of some of that demand that's really been languishing. So fingers crossed. So it's that time of the episode where we replace some of our older trains, and we've got some old trains. Boy, look at this, 70 years old, lifetime reached. God damn it is. We've got a lot of GP38s. We've got some Centuries left in service, things like that, even some SD9s. So we're going to go through and we're going to clean up some of these older trains. I also do want to do some configuring of our passenger services as well, because some of those are quite old and potentially we could tweak them as well. But yeah, first of all, the Laredo Stone. Oh, that's old. It's a GP38, so I would suggest it's probably not actually that old. I would say this is probably the flat cars that are that old, but still. Let's pop over there and see what it's doing. How are you going over there, pal? This is a tricky one because this is a very congested corridor. Not as congested as it used to be. As you can see, it is a little bit more free-flowing than it was, you know, many a year ago. We've got a lot of passengers waiting at Laredo, don't we? But certainly we can actually increase the service we're offering here. We can potentially get a second train running. To make that happen, we'll convert this to run on both tracks, I think. Other than that, we don't really need to do much else. But we will replace this guy and also duplicate him, I think. We can probably lengthen this station, actually, because it's running into Laredo, which is a 480 meter long platform. You aren't really shipping all that much either, so I think we do need to potentially increase the throughput if we want to level up our marble mine as well. So a 320 right now, we might take us up to maybe just 400. No, may as well just go up all the way to 480. There's no point going in half measures at this point, is there? So we're going to need to beef this up a little bit as well. Also make sure we're putting platforms in the right position as well. All right, let's try this again. So we're going to get a train running. We're going to go with SD70 ACEs. Obviously, they're not as powerful as the SD80s, but they're newer, which is probably an important consideration when we're looking at this as well. We might need a third, potentially. Let's have a look. We're still good, because it is such a sort of high slope. I think I might chuck a third on there anyway, just to make sure we are, covering off what we need to do. So that should increase the capacity by a massive amount, close to doubling it. And we'll duplicate it anyway, potentially with the extra platform space. We might be able to feed in some additional stone. Might add a few new buildings as well to hopefully try to facilitate that. And let's get the rest of these SD9s and probably the Centuries as well out of the way, as those are, quite old at this point. So what are we looking at here? We've got PO to Alba Grain. In fact, we can probably just replace everything running on this one. It's probably going to be, easier for us to do that. Let's have a look though. We'll replace our SD9 first of all and see how we're looking in terms of capacity. I don't know why it's running stone, but whatever. I don't think the Bethgon hoppers are going to be running with grain. Let's check. No, I didn't think so. So we will be running gondolas on these still. So they're slightly older. Like 30 years older, but whatever. And hopefully we'll see an increased capacity as well. I'm not 100% trusting that. Are these the same? I don't think they are. No. So what are we looking at? 313 meters, 345 capacity. And what are you right now? What's your capacity right now? It is... Yeah, it looks like for grain it's going to be high. So that's good. And should be quicker to flow through as well. I think I might... yeah, just do a straight out and out replacement on the rest of these as well. Very nice. And onto our Centuries. These are, generally speaking, or should be if I'm correct, generally heavier hauling vehicles. Not so much that one actually. That's not really what I was aiming for there, but certainly, yeah, we've got coal as well. So yes, we'll go through, we'll replace these. And potentially we might need to look at extending some trains as well. How long are you? 308 meters. Okay, so they're only 320 meters sort of capability here. What are you? You're a 38 as well. So we'll replace all of them. And we're switching to Bethcon coal hoppers as well. So we should expect to see a lift in capacity as well. No, it was actually a slight decrease, but it is what it is. All right, so our cross river freight trip train is now running to Spokane. And honestly, I'm keen to see what the journey looks like for these services. You know, we haven't had these ultra heavy freight services running on this line before, so I'm keen just to jump on and see, I guess, what the trip itself looks like. This might be a little bit of a slower one compared to the sort of high-speed trains we've been running for our ride-alongs recently. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoy. And here we are arriving at Dayton on our Cross River trip train. I'll tell you what, I'm actually super happy with that journey, especially that section between, Richmond and Dayton. We're looking at average speeds of like 80 to 90 k's an hour, which is fantastic. If you remember, before we built those crossovers around Dayton and the flyovers, we were pretty much having like bumper to bumper traffic. So I'm really happy that, we're in that sort of position now where things are flowing super smoothly. I did actually upgrade this train to have 3 locomotives. I was noticing as it was coming through the station when I was filming the intro, I'm like, that's pretty slow. So I popped on a new locomotive, which has really sped it up quite a bit as well. Hope you enjoyed. I was going to do some passenger train changes, but it turns out we've run out of time. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. You can find links to all my social media in the description, so please jump on there, like, follow, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Big shout out to my Founders Club patrons, Caleb and Isaiah. Thank you so much to the 2 of you for helping to make this content possible. But until next time, I'm Bob Dandry. This is Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.